What a week it's been in my favorite segment topic, the Go Woke, Go Broke world. Favorite because it's quite fun highlighting how the woke mob is eating its own, so to speak. Let me explain. A long time ago, I explained that the woke mob and cancel culture clan could only survive if they got the backing of either A, the general masses of Americans, or B, the corporate boardrooms. Well, the A never showed up. In fact, we did some research, and it turns out only a tiny fraction of Americans back the woke mob and their disruptive antics. In a recent extensive study called Hidden Tribes, a study of America's polarized landscape, a full 159-page report on what divides us, the study showed that only 8% of Americans consider themselves progressive activists, meaning they identify with the woke mob and the cancel culture clan. Further, the study found that the most intolerant group in America are white progressives who live in major cities. Shocker! I mean, how many more times do I need to point out the vast majority of the BLM clowns fighting in the streets and stopping traffic are young and white and probably even live in their parents' basements? It gets worse for the crowd-sized argument. 55% of Gen Zers, the most targeted demographic, 55% disapprove of the cancel mob. So no, cancel culture and woke mob aren't big in numbers in America, but what they lack in numbers, they make up with their loud mouths and their disruptive tactics. They love to boycott, and the boycott has become the woke mob's surface-to-air missile, effective actually because we have a bunch of snowflakes running America's top corporations. And corporate America is deathly afraid of the attention a boycott brings. So in order to appease the 8%, so they don't ruffle the corporate feathers, the CEOs and boards of corporate America run from the controversy and appease the tiny fraction making the most noise. But that is proving to be a bad strategy in the long run because while avoiding a short boycott by a small group of fanatics, these companies are alienating 50% of their customer base. Probably more, actually, because when you add conservatives with the independents and the liberals who don't agree with the mob, that could be 2/3 of the people. Can you imagine alienating 2/3 of your customers? Well, apparently that is exactly what is happening. We told you about the precipitous drop in Disney stock recently. Look right there, stock's falling off the end of the chart. And crowds protesting Disney at their California headquarters. Never seen that before. And given the new news that Disney will be subjected to a new Florida rule pulling their self-governing that will cost them billions, I'm guessing Disney is rethinking their woke agenda right about now. I mean, on one hand, a few blue and green-haired 20-somethings with piercings that in places that make you cringe, boycotting the Magic Kingdom sounds much better than the loss of hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap and taxes that Disney is already getting slammed with as we speak. It's not theoretical anymore, folks. It's real numbers, and they're all red for Disney. Speaking of all red, Netflix has been a woke is as woke does streaming network. Recently, Netflix took a hard left in their content. Elon Musk noted it as well when he said, quote, the woke mind virus is making Netflix unwatchable. The company reported a massive drop in subscriptions Wednesday, and they dropped like a rock, the stock losing 40% immediately. That's over $50 billion in value for the woke company. My guess, like Disney, the board right now at Netflix is figuring out a way to go less woke and fast. Spotify, seeing the writing on the wall, well, actually seeing the sea of blood Netflix is hemorrhaging with their woke content, just dropped the biggest name in liberal la-la land from their lineup. That's right, Barack and Michelle Obama have been dumped by Spotify. Whoa, good for you, Spotify. Never good to be married to an ideology. After all, your job and the job of boards of corporate America and directors at Disney, Netflix, and countless others is to increase your stock price. And the way to do that is to grow your audience, your customer base, and not alienate a big group of them. Americans don't want woke nonsense anymore, which is what this is. They want to be entertained. Wokeness is crushing HBO. HBO's Game Theory with Bomani Jones has failed to resonate with Americans after being billed as a program that discusses timely issues that transcend the world of sports. What? I mean, who would have thunk that a bunch of hosts making every issue about race on a sports show would be a major turnoff? Well, count me as one. Can we please just talk about the scores, the strategy, and the players, and not whether the Cowboys lost to the Chiefs because of some sort of structural racism? No, idiots. It was Dak Prescott's 3 interceptions. Clown shows. Canceled by HBO. Good. And how about this? Wokeness killed CNN Plus. Brian Stelter tweeted this, quote, breaking, CNN Plus, the streaming service that was hyped as one of the most significant developments in the history of CNN, will shut down on April 30th, just 1 month after it launched. Shocker? Nope. You fools placed a bet on the woke mob being bigger than it is, and your subscriptions were so lame, you shut it down even before Chris Wallace could pretend to be conservative while spewing left-wing tripe endlessly. At least your dad, Chris, your dad was true to the liberal DNA running through the Wallace family tree, Mike Wallace. Hypocrite. Getting what you deserve, Chris. Remember this? Remember when, on the very, very material debate stage, you shut down Donald Trump when he was bringing up the Hunter Biden laptop story, information that would certainly sway a huge number of voters. You shut him down because you, Chris Fake News Wallace, fact-checked Trump live on the spot.
It's about you. That's what we're talking about.
All right, that's the end of the segment. We're moving on.
He didn't take them.
Well, Vice President, no.
Can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
He stood up.
No, the answer to
and
the
he
question is no.
Ukraine.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you
that
get rid
is
of
absolutely
you know what, you're,
not true.
You're doing it.
You're going to
Not
have
true.
Gentlemen. I hate to raise my voice, but it seems to be. Why should I be different than the two of you?
Unbelievable. Shut it down. Stop it. You were wrong. You were wrong, Chris. And Trump lost. You never apologized for that error. That should have been a journalism disqualifier for you. But CNN, in their giddier-than-thou rush to wokeness, hired you. And look how that turned out. Wokeness is taking a bite out of Apple. Check out this train wreck in progress, an epic humiliation. Former relatively funny man and now woke unfunny Democrat activist Jon Stewart's new show is a humiliating flop with only 40,000 viewers, a far cry from his Daily Show days where millions saw Jon Stewart in his funnier days. But again, it applies to companies and to people. Go woke, go broke. Jon's comedy, when it went woke, it went broke. John Nolte over at Breitbart summed it up nicely. Quote, Jon Stewart's are everywhere now. You have Trevor Noah, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, that English a-hole on HBO, not to mention 2 cable news outlets, CNN and MSNBC, who have ended their days as journalists to own the Trump-tards, as they called it, 24/7. America is drowning in smugly dishonest left-wing trashing the GOP. And now let's hear from Joe Rogan, who stated the obvious, namely that Stephen Colbert is just not funny anymore.
It's sad seeing like Stephen Colbert, because I used to think he was funny, and seeing him now just like is cringe.
He's weird, right?
Right? Like the vax thing, you're just like, oh my God, this is so hard to watch.
The vaccine songs.
Yeah, you saw that, right? It's like,
that
oh
was
my God.
strange.
Mm-hmm.
Disney, Netflix, HBO, Apple, late night comedy, CNN Plus, y'all wanted to cater to the woke crowd. When you went woke, you went broke, or in the immortal words of that modern day intellectual philosopher, Kanye West, you all broke the broke. Coming up, one last thing.